Y'all? What up, y'all? We are here outside on a porch watching the stars. From the looks of things, it looks like the moon tonight is in Scorpio. Yeah, the moon is waxing. It looks as if we should have a full moon in about 3 to 4 days from the looks of things. I ain't checked the calendar yet, but just by the looks of things, 3 or 4 days away from a full moon. So far, the moon is in Scorpio. How y'all doing? You can tell the Scorpio because it got those 3 stars that kind of go up and down, and then like those 4 or 5 stars that kind of emulate the tail. That's how you can tell the constellation is Scorpio. Anyway, enough of me being a nerd. Today's broadcast is sponsored by Light the Mood Candles, Jayla Baxter. If you type in, go to lightthemood.com and type in Weed Smoke 22 for a discount, a special discount. Shouts out to everybody and shouts out to y'all. What's up, Mark? What's up, Don Philly? What's up? The other Gemini up in this here. Darnell Thomas and Cheryl Bryan. What's up? My brother Darnell Thomas. That's a name that I have a feeling. Maybe it wasn't you, brother, but in my opinion, I think, and I have no proof. This is what I think. I think 80% of the niggas named Darnell got arrested once, at least. I ain't saying you did it, but just the fact that your name is Darnell makes people think that you did it. Every Darnell's been arrested. 80% of Darnells have been arrested at least once, and the 20% that haven't, they just too young. You gonna get arrested too if your name is Darnell. Now it's a good chance you didn't do it, but who's going to believe somebody named Darnell if they say I didn't do it? Nobody. Yeah. What's up, Trey? And niggas named Trey look like they got in trouble all the time as kids. I bet you was a kid that used to fuck up. None of the other kids play with the toys anymore after Trey Day came in there. Like all the kids was playing with the toys, the G.I. Joes, the blocks or whatever. And then it's this kid named Trey Day that come up in there, and this nigga want to pick up the blocks and start throwing them and shit. Now can't none of the other kids play with the blocks because Trey Day done came up in here and broke the fort. The niggas named Trey Day break the toy fire trucks. Like, how do you break a toy fire truck? Like, toy fire trucks are indestructible. Trey Day broke that motherfucker in 19 seconds. Now the rest of the kids got to play with the easy bake oven to go outside to do some shit because Trey Day done came and broke the goddamn fire truck. What's up, Josh Hawkins? Josh Hawkins looked like he used to get beat up by his sister until he was 23. That brother, he used to get whooped on by his sister. Then when he turned 23, he was like, I ain't gonna take this no more. You're not gonna beat me up no more, Keisha. And he pulled out a 22. Not even a real gun. Josh Hawkins pulled out a 22, was like, you lay hands on me again, I'm gonna shoot you in the pinky toe. So a brother named Harold Hamilton. Niggas named Harold Hamilton got straight A's in school. The only time Harold Hamilton got all A's but then got a C in PE. Got an A in physics. We got an A in goddamn home economics. Got an A in geometry and history. Then the nigga got he really had a D in PE, but the teacher was like, he a good kid. Let's go ahead and give him a C. What's up, Monique? What's up, Guru Cam? This nigga Guru Cam still watches the Smurfs. Like every time he at work, and I don't mind, ain't nothing wrong with watching the Smurfs, but Guru Cam take it a little bit too far. Like he be the cat at work on the break room watching the Smurfs, telling his coworkers to shut up, but they come in the break room. Hey, shut up, man. Papa Smurf about to go regulate on Gargamel. Shut up. Like, dude, Guru Cam, we got to be back to work in 5 minutes. Man, look, man. If y'all don't shut up, I'm going to put some of this Gargamel magic on you. And that's good. That's what Guru Cam be doing. Guru Cam got written up. Guru Cam got written up for hogging the TV in the break room. Nigga turned off Judge Judy and turned on Popeye. And got written up because he's strong to the finish because he eats his spinach. I'm just fucking with y'all. Shit. What's up, Hot Tub Tony? Yeah. Hot Tub Tony getting a hot tub with retired church women. Like, Hot Tub Tony be like, come on in here, Brenda. This hot tub gonna help you out with your arthritic hip. You too, Maxine. Me, Brenda, and Maxine to the hot tub. Let's go. I'm gonna make sure I rub out the knots in your back, you know? I won't touch. I'm gonna be respectful. That's my nigga Hot Tub Tony 77. What's up, Jayla? I shouted you out to begin the show. Y'all, Jayla's in the chat room right now. She's who I was talking about. Lightthemood.com. And you get 40% off. You're going to get 40% off with the promo code WeedSmoke22. You said Hot Tub Tony said you got Sister Martha and the First Lady? Yeah. Yeah. Natural immunity, shut up. I like him. I like Brother Rashawn, man. Leave Baba Rashawn alone, man. I love when Baba Rashawn be cussing people out. He cussed somebody out cold on the channel a couple months ago. He was like, get your mucky ass out my chat room, coming with all this mucky ass nonsense. When Baba Rashawn get to going, shit, that shit be hilarious. What's up, Box 7 Head? Box 7 is the kind of nigga that tried to shoot a shotgun with one hand. Nigga almost blew his own forehead off. This nigga got a pistol grip shotgun. Box 7 had a pistol grip Mossberg and was trying to be cool and shot that hoe with one hand and ended up knocking his teeth out. What's up, Boss of Queenie? Thank y'all for coming up in here. We gonna be talking. We gonna be talking today, cause there's been a lot of shit going on that I want to have this conversation about. At what point do we take ownership and we give our immediate Black North American ancestors credit for our culture? At what point? At what point, the hot tub of Eddie Murphy, ha, go get in the hot tub, ha, go make me sweat. That shit was funny. Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy, gonna hop in the hot tub, ha, gonna make me wet. But I was gonna go on my computer because like this is usually when I'm on my phone I do my Q&As. I don't really do a full show with. I just kind of go with what you guys are talking about, and I will get to some of y'all questions later on. But it feels good out here in LA right now, and the weather feels good. And I wanted to smoke my reefer. I don't smoke in the house, so I said let me go and talk to y'all here on my phone. But at what point, and here's the reason why I brought this up. You know, I talk a lot about our music past and our music history. You know, that's my mission, to tell the story of our music correctly. Because black boys and girls need a cultural heritage to be proud of. That's my only desire when it comes to my Black American music tree, when it comes to me speaking about Black American music. My only ends is for adult Black people to learn more about what we've created so we can have esteem in that, and also so children, boys and girls, have a cultural heritage to be proud of. That's my goal. So when adults get offended at how I speak or what I may say, from my point of view, that's inconsequential how adults who are hurt may feel, right? Because if I'm big upping American culture, from my point of view, that's not shitting on Caribbean culture. That's not shitting on African culture. I respect everyone's culture. Even if I participated, I don't have to participate. Or I don't have to participate in it, nor do I even have to really understand it. I just respect it because it's something that was put together by your forefathers and your ancestors. That alone makes me have respect for other people's cultures. The only thing I demand is a similar respect be given. Give the respect to my culture that I give to others. That's all I ask. You don't have to like it, but if you don't like it, it ain't gonna stop me. Why should I ignore the esteem of Black children to satiate the feelings of an adult grown-ass person, male or female? That's what them baby boomers niggas did. That's what these Twitter blue check niggas do. See, blue check Twitter, 90% of them, they don't give a fuck about the kids and about the cultural legacy of Black people. Not Black blue check Twitter cares about making friends with everyone other than their own people. That's not what I'm here for. They totally ignore the feelings of Black Americans and Black children, all in attempts to be somebody else's friend. Well, let's make this shit real clear. I don't give a fuck about friends. Making new friends, I should say. Because if you're gonna be my friend, that means you're going to respect me top to bottom. You're gonna respect me as an individual, you're gonna respect my family, and you're gonna respect my culture. And if you can't respect those three things, then you're not my friend. You just some motherfucker that like what I do. And if you just some motherfucker that like what I do, cool. But you have no voice and shutting me up. You dig what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from. Because I've had a few conversations this past week talking about music. And when I talk about music, the first thing people say is, Oh, that's African. I was talking about on one post I did. I think I was talking about. I don't know. I think I was talking about Dizzy Gillespie or Quincy Jones or something like that. And people jumped up in the comment section saying, "Yeah, oh, that's Africa." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's North American. It's Black North American. It is Black USA. We have our own culture that we. At what point does it stop being black? And why? And it starts being African. Like nobody says what the Aborigines do in Australia is African. Nobody calls soca African. They allow people from the Caribbean to have the music that they created relative to their environment. Nobody calls bossa nova African. Nobody calls calypso African. Calypso is Caribbean. Bossa nova is Brazilian. They don't call those big ass drums they do in Japan, anything in Japanese culture, they don't call none of that African. Even though the whole planet comes from Africa. They don't call things that happen in Russia African. Hell, let's go there. They don't call nothing European African. People been in the Americas longer than white people have been in Europe. Ooh, did I just say that? Did I just say that fact? Men and women have been in North America longer than white people have been in Europe. So why is it that when we create something here, we got to go all the way back to Africa? Let's break this down. Question. What was the first country that approved the United States of America to be an independent nation, independent from England? What's the name of that country, and where the fuck is that country located? That country is Morocco. The United States could easily not exist today had Morocco not approved the United States to be an independent nation, independent of Britain. America started slavery, according to their words, in 1619. America had the Declaration of Independence in 1776. That's 150 damn near 150 years of slavery that was going on here in North America in 13 colonies. 150 years of slavery that was going on here in North America. Morocco, they knew there was slavery in the United States. They knew that full well what was going on. Did Morocco, at any time in that 150-year stretch, did they ever say, United States, you got to stop that slavery shit? Those are Africans. We're not going to approve you being your own independent nation as long as you have Africans tied into slavery. You know what Morocco said? Fuck them niggas. Y'all could be a country. That's what Africa said. All the way even through we can go to the early 1800s, 1810, 1820. Morocco's military was way stronger than the United States military in the early 1800s. Say Morocco did say, okay, hey, you guys get to become a country. But then 20 years later, you got to realize George Washington, the United States went independent in 1776. George Washington didn't get elected until 1792. And he served his 2 bullshit-ass terms. And it was George Washington that signed into law that the United States, that slaves would be slaves through perpetuity. Did Africa ever say, hey, that wasn't part of the deal? Did they ever say that? No. They said, fuck them niggas. The homie Amazon women of Benin, the women that's being portrayed in this new movie with Viola Davis. What's up, man? Man, you have a good one tonight, bruh. Yes, sir. Those are the same women that was depicted in Black Panther. They were slave catchers. At any point in the early 1800s, I'm going with before. Okay, the conference, the Berlin conference happened. The other conference I'm drawing a blank to because I'm high as hell. And they divided Africa in the late 1800s. Well, by the time you get to Africa being divided up in the in the 1880s, you're now at 200. Think about this timeline, folks. You're now at 250 years. Well, America had ended slavery by then. So say from 1865 to 1619, what's that? 230 years of official slavery. And Africa, Morocco, North Africa specifically, controlled the oceans. Britain didn't get control of the oceans until the mid 1800s. North Africa was still in control of the oceans through the early 1800s. Did they say, hey, these slave ships can't be coming over here. Y'all got to stop that shit, or we gonna beat y'all ass? Did they? Now, we already know only 300,000 captured individuals were brought to North America as slaves. The rest went to the Brazil and to Caribbean. So we already knowing most black people that are here now were here long before the transatlantic slave trade. But to play Africans advocate, let's talk about the ones who were brought over here. While the Moors controlled those high seas, did they ever? While the Moroccans, when they controlled them high seas, did they ever say no more of this shit? No. It only takes. I'm listen to me here, because I'm approaching this from two different ways. I'm approaching this topic from multiple angles. All right. I'm not just going straight down the street with y'all. I'm going from a few different angles, so we can have a full holistic point of view of this. One angle I'm going at is, okay, these motherfuckers didn't stop the slave trade, even though they, hold on, loud ass motorcycle. They didn't stop any of the slave trade from 1619, 1659, 1689, 1699, 1729, 1750, 1780, 1800. The United States outlawed slavery in 1808. At none of that time, officially, but it's still, the last ship still came in 1859, but it officially outlawed the import of slaves in 1808. That's over 200 years, people, of Africa having more military might than the United States. Let me say that again. That's over 200 years of Africa having more military might, more advanced boats, more technology than the European. This is facts. Did they ever come and help the 300,000 that they sent over here? Okay, I'm just gonna say, damn the ones who was already here. Did they ever help the 300,000 that they sent over here? In over 200 years. This is the thing. These are questions that we have to ask ourselves. We have to ask these questions and just think for a moment, because again, I don't believe in hating nobody. I don't believe in, I don't believe in degrading people. Now, I'll crack some jokes, but I really don't believe in dehumanizing people and for the people who listen to me, I respect all of you guys' brains. So I want to give you some substance to what I'm saying. I don't want to just say, hey, I'm Dwan, I read a lot of books, believe me. Fuck that shit. I want us to think. So angle number one, they had over 200 years to stop this shit when they had a greater military might than the colonies in the United States, and they didn't. Angle number two. Now we're about to go to the second angle. The second angle is culture. Those of you who've been watching me for a long time, I don't mean to sound like Boyce Hawkins. I always throw my degrees out there. But my minor was in cultural anthropology. Again, I'm only a few credits shy of getting a double degree. But what the fuck good is 2 bachelors? That's like whacking off to to old Playboy magazines. Two bachelors is basically redundant. So no, I'm not going back to finish my double bachelors. But I do take with me the experience and the understanding of the anthropological process, how culture works, how to define culture, how to identify culture, and how to trace culture. I'm formally trained in that from White People University. For all you assholes that like to say, you don't have a degree. I got one, it's just irrelevant. But it's relevant to this topic. And when it comes to anthropology, one thing they'll tell you is, specifically in the United States, culture evolves. And there's a new culture every 20 to 25 years. Let me say that again. Culture evolves. There's a new culture in a given society, but specifically in the United States, there's a brand new culture every 25 years. Let me give you an example. When Bill Cosby was doing what he was doing in the 60s and 70s, giving women those thigh opener pills, that was a normative part of the culture. Everyone that was fucking in the 70s and the 60s was looking for Spanish fly. I remember my parents talking about the Spanish fly being the talk of the day. It was really hard to get. My dad used to always be like, more so my dad. I love my dad. My dad was like, man, I was trying all through the 70s to get some of that shit, man. I could never get some. But that was a normative part of the culture. As you get through the 80s and 90s, it stops being normal. But people still understand because you're only 10 years removed. You're only 20 years removed. But when we start getting 25, 30 years removed, now we're in the 2000s. That part of the culture has been long removed and forgotten. You have a new generation of people. I was born in 1981. So by 2001, I'm 20. And Spanish fly, now I'm out there in the sexual marketplace as a young 20-year-old getting what I could get. Spanish fly is not a part of my culture at all. You know what it is? Ecstasy. Dr. Dre said that on Chronic 2000. Just pop some ecstasy. Gotta find bitch laying next to me. So Spanish fly is no longer a part of the culture. For the people who are fucking like that, now we on the ecstasy. We get to 2015. Now, those people who grew up on ecstasy, now I never did thesis. I never did X, but that's what people did. It wasn't my thing. But people around me, I know a lot of people who did. So, to me, in my culture, that's normal to have ecstasy as a part of sex, even though that wasn't my get down. Having it around was normal. Having Spanish fly around, however, what the fuck is that? Only thing we know, especially if you don't have parents like mine that's going to explain things to you, the only thing you're going to know about Spanish fly is what this media is telling you. And if they're telling you Spanish fly was always a bad thing, Bill Cosby was a super predator, he was wrong, he should have never done that, you're going to believe it. Why? Because we're now in a different culture. The culture's changed. The way they got down in 1975 is different than how they get down in 2015. 30-year gap. No, a 40-year gap. So you really are. If culture shifts every 25 years, and now we're talking about a 40-year gap, the people that are under 40 have no cultural context on how to properly assess the situation unless they've been taught by people who were around at that time what the situation was. That's the only way you're going to have cultural context, is if you're around an adult that tells you the truth. I mean, a baby boomer who tells you the truth. And we all know baby boomers had a hard time with the truth. These old motherfuckers still trying to act young. So to find honest baby boomers about their time, that's few and far in between. Luckily for me, I have parents who are honest baby boomers. And they told me everything about that shit. So I was able to understand that Spanish fly was a normative part of sexual culture of the 1970s. The same way ecstasy was a normative part of sexual culture of the 2000s. Ecstasy, Hennessy, the niggas in the late 90s was on that them incredible hoax of Hennessy and Hypnotic. That's for you niggas that was in the clubs in 97 through 2003. You was on that. So what's going to happen in 2040? Not even 2040. 2030. That's 8 years from now. 8 years from now, let's go 2035. You have kids who were born in 2000. They didn't get into party culture to 2020. They don't understand that ecstasy was a normative part of sexual culture. They grew up on the fentanyl and the cocaine, what they doing around, and the different other shit that they got going, that they got on the streets right now, lean and all that. So if we get 2030, 2035, if the media decides to come together and go after men who were giving women ecstasy in 2000, the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old of 2040 is going to believe whatever they're being taught by the media, right? Because culture has changed. Culture changes every 20 to 25 years. Culture and DNA are two different things. DNA is what's in your blood. Culture is how you behave relative to your environment. That's all culture is. Your behavior, your economics, your food, your entertainment, your daily way of life relative to your physical environment, right? When it comes to cultural norms, it only takes one generation to lose culture. It takes one generation to lose language. It takes one generation to change the way you talk. In the 70s, they said, what it is, Jack. If I never saw Dolomite, I never would have known that's how them niggas talk. Because when I grew up in the early 90s, 1990, something that was nice was dope. I remember like when Michael Jackson came out with Bad in 87. It was a whole thing. What do you mean bad? Bad is good. Good is bad? Like all the old people, all the niggas that was like baby boomers and older was like bad means good, and that was confusing to them. But to us, that was normal. To kids now, they look back on us saying bad, and they're like, you niggas is corny. That's what the kids today will say. They look back on us saying dope or bad or that was tight. Oh, that's tight. Niggas was saying that stuff in the early 90s. They'll look back on us. They'll look at us saying that shit, but like, you motherfuckers is corny. But, and I'm getting back to my point about culture. This is all part of the point, all right? Follow me. So, if a child is born and the laws of the land is we're not going to allow this group of people to maintain any cultural continuity. When this child is born, we're going to sell them to the plantation around the way to disconnect any cultural bonds, any ancestral bonds. And we're going to do this, and this is going to happen quite often over a 200 plus year period. Mind you, I told you it only takes one generation to lose culture, right? Only one. Only one. Now, certain things are in the blood. You will find yourself doing certain things, and you'll look up. I will admit that. Like I look at my mom and her mom's situation. Her mom died when she was a month old. We never spent no time around her mom's side of the family. But when I did reconnect with that side of the family, I'm seeing where is there a lot of things that we are alike. But culturally, my mom has the culture of her grandparents who raised her, who was on her father's side. There are certain things that we do alike on the other side, but the way things are run is still in alignment with the people who raised her. So if that happens like that in one generation, what happens when cultural bonds are broken up over hundreds of years? 1619, 1639, 1669, more cultural bonds being broken up. In 1669, you lived in the colony of North Carolina. 1730, you had to move over down into Mississippi or up into Michigan because of what's been going on. But then you get into Mississippi in the 1730s, and it's the Mississippian Wars going on. America hasn't quite settled that area yet along the Mississippi River. So it's wars breaking out all over the place. So now you got to go north to Ohio or Indiana and start a new culture. And then we're in the 1670s. Now that's when you were free. Now you're captured into slavery. Now it's 1780 and you're now on this plantation. And you're being told, hey, you can't have a culture. You can't have no drum. You can't have no saxophone. You can't have no playing cards. The only thing you get to have is watermelon on Sundays. And mind you, in the 1700s, they like to tell you Christian. In the 1700s, black people weren't allowed to be Christians yet. In the early 1700s. So the people who were enslaved, niggas weren't allowed to start becoming Christians until like the late 1700s into the 1800s. They weren't allowing black people to be Christians, I mean, really through the 1700s like that. He was working. They put that church thing in later. That came in later. So you now at 150 years of being cut and shuffled. Now you're in slavery. You're bouncing around this country to avoid being enslaved. Now you're enslaved. And now you got another 100 years of your family deck being shuffled over and over and over and over again. Mind you, you can't play any instruments. So now slavery's over. We're in the 1860s, 1870s. Lots of instruments are left around, left over from the Civil War. You can pick them up. Mind you, even if you were imported from Africa, you're about 200 years and about 10 generations disconnected. Mind you, it only takes one generation to lose culture. Only one. Only one. You're now 10 generations removed from Africa. And that's if you came over here on a slave ship. If you're one of the majority who didn't come over on a slave ship, you're, I don't know how many thousands of years removed from Africa. Either you came during the first migration, that was the Twa and Mbuti, and that happened about 150,000 years ago. The little midget Twas, they were first. Or you were part of the Folsom migration. The Folsom migration is about 100 to 50,000 years ago. The Folsom migration came after the polar caps receded. And depending on what part of the country, North America was under ice for a while. The Folsom migration came after the ice left, about anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 years ago, depending on where you were in North America. That's why if you go anywhere in the country named Folsom, Folsom, Georgia, Folsom, California, Folsom, New Mexico, you're going to find bones of these niggas that they call the Folsom people. So you may have been part of that migration, or you could have been a part of the Algonquin migration that happened about 6,000, 7,000 years ago. And that came from the east. You're part of one of those migrations, and you could have mixed in with the migrations of the Mongoloid that came about 10,000 years ago. So we don't know how long we've been here. Those are just the 3 migrations we know of. There could have been more. There could have been more migrations. Those are just the ones that we know that you can document, and you can read in Dr. Imhotep's book, The First Americans Were Africans, for those of you who want a source. Read Dr. Imhotep's book, The First Americans Were African, and you can verify everything that I just said. And in the back of that book, they have a bibliography. And you can reference the bibliography to reference the references that Dr. James Imhotep did. So that's what I'm quoting. The 4th migration was these Africans through slavery. So you don't know. I don't, so far in my family history, I found so far hundreds of ancestors, and I still haven't found one that's come from Africa. I haven't found that yet. I still haven't found an ancestor from Africa. I'm not saying they're not there. I just haven't found them yet. So you're that many years removed from Africa. I also have a lot of European ancestry in me too. 2 bloodlines in particular. They came from Middle Essex, England in the 1670s. And I have more that came from Germany in the 1720s. 1790s, I'm sorry. And I got a fuck ton. I got mulattoes that came that were Mississippians in my bloodline. And I got niggas from Kentucky, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Alabama, and Texas. And I also got a lot of dark niggas from Louisiana. I got both mulatto from Louisiana and dark ass nigga from Louisiana. I got both. 2 different bloodlines. So, but nothing from Africa yet. I'm still tracing. So, that hodgepodge of people, these individuals that are now at least 200 years or 10 generations disconnected from Africa, those who came at the earliest, they're that disconnected from Africa. It only takes 1 generation to lose cultural continuity. Weren't allowed to play instruments for a couple hundred years. Couple hundred. Wasn't allowed to even pick up an instrument. And then now you're allowed relative freedom. But while you're in freedom, you're forced into segregation. From 1870 to 1965, 63, you can't even mingle with white people. There are relatively no black immigrants here. There's some in New York. There's a relative, like Dr. Claude Anderson teaches us, there was a zero net immigration policy in the United States during that time from Africa. Meaning the only amount that can come in is the amount that left, and that's it. Wasn't nobody leaving. So, from 1865, the end of slavery, to 1665, we live in segregation. Little to no black people from the Caribbean or Africa in here, and absolutely no mingling with white people. So during that time, you develop these sounds. Memphis got its blues going on. New Orleans got its jazz going on. The Carolinas got its Appalachian going on. And you have these sounds that are happening, that you just playing the guitar at a juke joint because you don't want to pick cotton. You have 2 choices. Pick cotton or pick up this guitar and be the coldest motherfucker you can be. So people like Bo Diddley, people like Muddy Waters, Fats Domino, Buddy Bolden, Louis Armstrong, these people decide to pick up instruments. Jelly Roll Morton used to play in New Orleans. As young as the age of 8, Jelly Roll Morton used to play in a whorehouse. Jelly Roll Morton had a peephole next to his piano. And Jelly Roll Morton would play his piano to the stroke of the tricks and the hookers as an 8-year-old. And that's how Jelly Roll Morton became one of the greatest piano players and forefathers of jazz, playing in a whorehouse as an 8-year-old to make money before he moved to Los Angeles and brought jazz to LA. And he bought a hotel that's still standing on the corner of Central and 11th. He bought a hotel and he brought 6 hookers with him, and he would pimp by day and play piano at night, bringing jazz to Los Angeles during the 1920s. These black people from these southern rural areas start to move to the cities, like Jelly Roll Morton moved to LA. Black people are now moving to Detroit, to Chicago, to Cleveland, to Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio, to Pittsburgh, to New York. And all of these segregated sounds that we learned during segregation, because we were playing our asses off to not pick cotton, Follow me here. Follow me. I'm not looking at the chat room because you niggas are very smart and y'all will distract me if I read what y'all saying. I ain't looked at the chat room in about 20 minutes. I will look at y'all comments in a little bit. But you are literally playing so you won't have to pick cotton. If you think I'm bullshitting, go back on this very channel. Go back on Incense and Ashtrays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Mixcloud, and listen to my interview with the legendary blues guitarist Bobby Rush. I did one interview with him when he was 88, another one when he was 89, and he's talking to me about playing the guitar because he was out in them fields as a young boy having to work them fields. Like my grandfather, rest in peace, had his funeral yesterday. It's a beautiful funeral. But I was talking to my grandfather about living in Grace, Mississippi in the 1920s. And literally up until a month before he died, he could recall these stories like that. And matter of fact, I recorded my last conversation with my grandfather. I didn't even know I recorded it. Thank God. I got a 24-minute long conversation that I had with my grandfather like 2 months ago. And I recorded it. And he's talking to me about Central Ave in the 1950s and 40s. He's talking to me about watching Satchel Paige play. He was telling me about Satchel Paige. And I said, you know, my favorite baseball player was Barry Bonds. And Poppy was like, oh, Barry, that boy can hit. He said, shit, that boy can hit that ball from here to Watts. W-A-T-T-S, Watts. My grandfather was 98 plus, still cracking jokes. That boy Barry Bond could hit that ball to Watts. And that's in my last I haven't recorded. But anyway, these are the conditions that we as black people are in. Play an instrument or pick cotton. Because everybody was enslaved. The Caribbean, yes, you guys were enslaved too. That's the common bond, slavery. The difference between Black America and Africa, the difference between Black America and Caribbean was 100 years of Jim Crow. Because that's when you're told you're free, but you really aren't. And every law that's created is created to separate you from your family. Think about that. 100 years of laws, and they're still doing it, by the way. It's even worse now. But during Jim Crow, the laws are literally created to separate you from your family, to economically disenfranchise you, to make it to where you're basically a debt slave the rest of your life. That's the way the society is constructed. So you have a choice. Play an instrument or pick cotton. And if you do pick cotton, if you do work a farm, do work a field, my grandfather told me he used to carry water. When he was in Mississippi, he would have to wake up at 5 in the morning, and he'd have to carry water to everybody that was out there working. You know, check on the chickens and do a bunch of work. Then he went to school. Then when he got off from school, he had to go back to carrying the water. My grandfather left Grace, Mississippi in 1937. Why? He left Grace, Mississippi in 1937 because his uncle had did something that the white people didn't like. So what they did was they tied his uncle up and they put his uncle in the road, and they had a horse trample his uncle. And my grandfather saw that as a 12, 13-year-old. He saw his uncle get trampled by white people, not by the Klan, by the police. And they talk about why black men are so hardened. My grandfather had that trauma and had to leave to LA. Why am I saying all this? Where does Africa play in any of this? Where does Africa play in any of this trauma? Trauma cuts connections, not builds them. That's what trauma does. So black people are playing to survive. And our competition, first of all, it wasn't even no way to even listen to what was going on in Africa when bebop was being created, when jazz was being created, when the blues was being created. There's actually, do these dumb motherfuckers of today know that there was no damn internet? There are no TV stations, no radio stations that could listen to music in fucking Mali in 1937? That didn't exist. These people are playing to be the best. So we develop these our own culture within this environment. You work hard, that means on Friday night, Saturday night, you dance hard. So every time the musicians come up with a new beat, a new style, the people who dance come up with a new dance to go along with it. And as materialism started to become a bigger thing through the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, for those who lived in the city, they came up with a new style of dress to show their uniqueness from the culture that preceded them. And all of these mini cultures happen. Chicago has its own culture. St. Louis has a little different culture. Detroit has another culture. Miami has a different culture. Dallas has another culture. And it's a different style of music, a different lingo, a different way of dressing. All of these cities, all around the country, are in competition now with one another. The musicians develop this thing. The musicians create this thing called cutting contests. Because again, you gotta be the best. Because if you ain't the best, you're gonna have to go back to picking cotton. So you come up with competition games amongst yourself. You come up with this thing called a cutting contest. Meaning, if you played the trumpet, the piano, the drums, whatever you played, when you at the juke joint that night, you better play your ass off. Because somebody else is gonna sit down on that same instrument. And y'all gonna have to battle. You think you the coldest nigga in town? Well, shit. Muddy Waters just got off the freeway, just got off the train. You're gonna have to battle him. And you go back and forth. And you develop this battle culture to where you battling one another. And your only thought is outdoing Howlin' Wolf on the guitar. Your only thought is outdueling Dizzy Gillespie on the trumpet. Your only thought is outplaying Max Roach on the drums. Where do you have time to think about Africa? Where is Africa in any of this? And that's the second angle. Angle number 3. If it's Africa, if Africa's the reason why jazz is the classical music of today around the world, if Africa is the reason why R&B and the world does R&B now it's called K-pop, but if it's Africa, why aren't the Africans in Brazil creating something that the world wants? Huh? Oh, you say bossa nova? No. Bossa nova didn't happen till Brazilian rhythms met bebop harmonies and style of play and instrumentation. That's what bossa nova is. Bossa Nova is Black America's influence on Brazil, not the other way around. If it's Africa's thing, why aren't the Africans in the United Kingdom creating a culture and a music that the world wants and loves? Told you, I'll say right down street from the goddamn fire station. And these niggas supposed to turn their goddamn shit off when they coming down the street. Ah, damn. Hold on. Get your ass on, nigga. She's supposed to be off. They told us at the goddamn city meetings they supposed to turn them lights off, the sound off after 10 o'clock. But anyway, you in Africa now, right? If it's Africa's influence on black people, why aren't the Africans in Mexico creating a sound that the world is now molding itself to? Why aren't the Africans in the Caribbean? Why aren't the Africans in Indonesia? Why aren't the Africans in India, in Japan, in China, in Canada, in Panama, in Chile, in Australia, in fucking Austria? Why ain't none of them creating a music and a culture that the world wants to take from? At what point do you separate and still give honor and respect from Africa? Because, again, that's where all life comes from. I'm down with that. But at what point do you honor your immediate ancestors? You know, Africa, you cool, but I'm going to honor mommy and daddy first. And then after I honor mommy and daddy, I'm honoring my grandparents and my cousins and my brother and my sister. They're going to get honored first. And then after I honor my grandparents, I'm going to honor my great-grandparents. And then my great-great-grandparents. And their children, my cousins. At what point do I honor my family at home first? The people I have pictures of. The people who passed down stories before they transitioned. That story I got recorded with my grandfather, that wasn't about Africa. That was about Grace, Mississippi. Those were stories about living in Los Angeles in 1955. Is it okay that I honor him before I jump back? I don't know how many thousands or hundreds of years the last time I was in Africa. And this, again, it's no disrespect to Africa, but at one point, do you respect what I've done here enough to be okay with honoring my grandparents? Or do you not have enough respect for yourself and your family lineage to honor them? Because people are always talking about honor your ancestors. There's somebody saying that shit. I'm going to honor my African ancestors. Well, what about your American ancestors that survived the worst Holocaust in human history to get your black ass here? What about them? You're not going to honor the ones that had to sharecrop and pick cotton to get you here? That's cold. I'm sorry, that's kind of cold. You're not going to honor your ancestors that were economically forced off their land in Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas, forced to move to the big city, forced to work these jobs all these hours a day. One thing that was in my grandfather's obituary, and this is to show you how hard we work as a people. This is in my grandfather's obituary. When my grandfather retired in 1989, he used to quarter up chickens. This is before they had the automatic machines to cut chickens up. This is back when like food service companies had to do it by hand. They said that when my grandfather would get chickens, he can weigh them with his own hands. He didn't need to use a scale. He could tell you if a chicken was 2 1/4 or 2 1/3. Yes, my grandfather with his hands can tell you the difference between a 1/4 pound and 1/3 of a pound. And he'd be accurate every time. And when he cut chickens up, he cut them up so efficiently. When he retired in 1989, the company had to hire 3 people to replace my grandfather. 3 people. My grandfather not only worked at that job, he also owned a burger stand. And he'd get off work to go work his burger stand. And he held that burger stand open for 20 years. Do I not honor that to say, hey, we get this from Africa? My great-granddad was a stonemason. My great-great-granddad was a stonemason in Paw Paw, Michigan, and then Benton Harbor. Built some great structures. Do I ignore what he built? My great-great-great-great-granddad was born into slavery. And in his will, in his father's will, he was to be released. And he and his brothers were to split the land that the plantation was on. They were basically supposed to own the plantation in 1855. The governor came in and said, no, you're black, you can't do that. You know, you're mulatto. You can't own this shit. Matter of fact, go back into slavery. Do I ignore that to honor an ancestor that I've never heard of from a part of Africa that lived in that were in tribes that no longer exist? That may have been, who may have last linked in Africa at the soonest 300 years ago, but my last link to Africa could possibly be 3,000 years. It could possibly be 10,000 years. I don't know. I have no clue. Best case scenario, slavery from Africa was outlawed in 1808. Best case scenario, so far I haven't found any, and I have a lot of family history from the early 1800s. Best case scenario, they came in 1808? Probably not, because all of my bloodlines I've traced so far, they had been on this land long before 1808. And I got their names written down. I have family that fought in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the War of 1812, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. I have family that was never enslaved. I have a family that was extremely enslaved. I have family that was enslaved and bought themselves to freedom. I have family that was free but captured into slavery in the late 1700s. Why should I skip over them and all this hell that they've dealt with here in North America to honor ancestors that I don't know exist? Their tribe no longer exists. I'm sure their language and their spiritual practice no longer exist. At some point, you got to ask these questions. Somebody, now I'm looking at Charles, someone said, do I believe in the DNA test? No, I don't believe in anything but myself, and neither should you. The only thing you should ever believe in is yourself. Believe inside of you. That's everything else, you just take it for face value. Everything else is entertainment. DNA test is whatever markers they want to show you. If you listen to Dr. Clyde Winters, a lot of these markers that are for Africa are also for here for North America. They just won't tell you that. DNA tests, they're so conflicted right now. Like, the science isn't settled on DNA. Like, there's extreme debate within the science community regarding the efficiency and the effectiveness of DNA. It's not a settled science. Now, whenever we're talking about science, the only time it's settled is if there's a law. There's no law of DNA. So since there's no law of DNA, that means DNA is very much debatable and contestable because they have not been able to prove it consistently enough for DNA to become a law of science. So, no, I don't believe in DNA. I believe DNA is something that can be useful, but DNA is also something that's not conclusive, and that's according to science. That's not according to DwannBrown. That's not according to me. That's according to the American Medical Association. That's according to science. Them motherfuckers told me DNA, the science isn't settled on DNA. I don't study this shit. I don't know. But since both medical and science community both agree DNA isn't settled science, in my opinion, they're probably right. Your DNA test is entertainment. Get one from Ancestry and get another one from 23andMe and see if they say the same exact thing. Yeah, this shit's a hustle. All this shit's a hustle. We live in a fucking entertaining matrix. You create your reality. You can either buy into their reality or you can create your own. But one thing I'm not going to do is believe the people who've been lying and deceiving me from day one now have this thing that's going to tell me everything I need to know about myself. That's one thing I'm not going to do. And let's take this a little deeper. I'm about to not look at the chat room because I want to make this one last point, and then I'm going to holler at y'all in the chat room. So if you got any questions, save it until I make this last point. Because I was on the phone with Larry Hoass earlier today talking about this. We were talking about how, like, look, think about how long it took for white America to conquer North America. When they tell us a story, they tell us as if they came here to North America guns a-blazing. They were just these superior warriors who beat out these fierce braves, Atlanta, these redskins, these Indians. That's not what happened. It was a slow movement westward. That was a series of broken treaties and ambushes that took well over 200 years to complete. Let me say that again. White America got control of the continental 48 states through a series of broken treaties and ambushes. You think, and co-opting, on the third part, co-opting tribal beef, playing along the divisions of tribal beefs. That's how they took North America. They first came here in the 1500s through the Spanish. up that West Coast. That's what Spain was doing. And they settled certain parts for Spain. Other parts remained, for the most part, open. And then the French came through the middle, Louisiana, that way. The Americans came from the east. The British, I should say. The British got their little bullshit-ass fort, that bullshit-ass start in 1619. 1609, 1619, depending on which dates you want to go with. You can say 1609, fine. That's when the bullshit British got their foothold here. They get to 13 colonies by the time you get to the late 1700s, right? Mind you, the British have now been here for well over 100 years, and they still hadn't really crossed the Appalachian Mountains like that, right? Here for over 100 years, hadn't really crossed the Appalachian Mountains. Then you get into the 1800s. You know, you have the Mississippian Wars going on during the 1700s with the French and some of these crackers. You got the that's going on in the 1730s, the Mississippian Wars, 1740s. So is these wars going on. That was mostly ambushes. And during this same time, you got reinforcements coming by the boatload. Thousands of Europeans a week are coming to the Americas from the 1600s, really through now. But really heavily 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. So they come in by the tens of thousands a month, by the boatload. Meanwhile, the natural population is reproducing at a normal birth rate and dealing with tribal beefs, not getting on cold. So all these things are going on at the same time. Then you get to the 1800s. They start coming the way west. The Sequoias, even though California became a state in the 1849, 1850, the Sequoias weren't settled until the 1880s. General Allensworth. So it took a long time for them to really get the foothold that they have right now. Black people are under the biggest misconception that they're this great enemy that can't be defeated, and they're all great, and we this and we that. They didn't get what they got overnight. It took well over 200 years to get what they have. Well over 200 years, 300 years. 250 some odd goddamn years. Because when was the Indian Wars finally settled? In the 1880s? So it takes time. It took a long time. And through this, as black people, that's how long it took to get us in a situation that we in. They're not gonna take their foot off of our necks. Not when it took that fucking long to get it. They know it took that long to get it. They know that. But they tell us, oh man, we just came through the set and beat y'all asses. That's what they tell us. No. Y'all did shit like think about the Battle of Negro Fort in Florida. During the, what President Jackson did before he became president. What Jackson would do is, he would start a proxy war about 50 miles away from where he wanted to attack. Like send a small fleet of his soldiers to basically get massacred by the niggas. And when the soldiers attacked his small fleet, his larger fleet will go into the town, rape all the women, capture them, take all the kids, and whoever doesn't die, take them and sell them off into slavery and burn the village down. So by the time the men got back, well, actually, what they would, that's not what they would do. They wouldn't burn it down yet. That's not what they would do. In the Battle of Negro Fort, what they did was they waited till the men came back. They sent the women off, waited till the men came back in the forts, and when the men came back in, they ambushed them. They thinking they come back into their family, but they coming back to President Jackson, well, General Andrew Jackson at the time. They're coming back to him in an ambush. They gave disease blankets. What they would do is also, when they would move west, as they moved west, they would come in on peace, like, hey, let me get this side of the river. You can get that side of the river. It's all good. And then they'd be like, you know what? The way the natives saw it, this is God's land, not our land. Go ahead. This isn't in all cases. This is in some cases. They will live peacefully on the side of these motherfuckers. See, the white supremacists play a long game. They'll live peacefully alongside these motherfuckers for a cool generation. Yeah, we good. 20 years. Then now it's like, you know what? We want that side of the river too. And when you least expect it, we're gonna ambush your town. And the reason why we're gonna be able to ambush your town is because we spent the last 10, 20 years earning your trust. We spent 20 years earning your trust. So we can know that. And right when we give you some of this fire water right here. Y'all like that fire water, don't you? You dumb nigga Indians. Y'all like this liquor. Matter of fact, we'll give you some guns too. Now we'll make sure your guns ain't as good as our guns. But you get a couple guns. And you'll get this fire water right here. And the minute you done shooting each other and drinking, right when you drinking, having one of them powwows you have, doing the goddamn rain dance, blowing smoke signals, we, the people you thought was your friends on the other side of the river, are gonna attack your motherfucking ass. Kill all the men off and take the women and sell them into slavery, or make them our slaves and make these kids our slaves. Oh, yeah, little kids, yeah, you are a slave now. Then that little kid turned like 7, 8 years old, you know, where am I from? Oh, little boy, you from Africa. That's where you from. You ain't, no. Yeah, oh yeah, you're only 2 when we killed your daddy? Yeah, you don't remember. Who's my daddy? Yeah, I'm your daddy. Yeah. Matter of fact, we sold your mama down the river, so, to another plantation. So she can't raise you. I'm your daddy. Well, why am I black and you white? Oh, because I bought you from Africa. And now you gonna tell what's up now? You gonna believe that? So now what are you gonna tell your kids? We's from Africa. All it took was one generation of your parents getting killed off or sold. That's all it took. Sell your family off. I just bought this little 1-year-old nigger. Little nigger baby. I got this little nigger baby at 1 year old. I sold his mama off to Jimbo's plantation. Oh, where am I from? You from Africa. What part of Africa? That part over there. Now you have babies. Matter of fact, this old dirty motherfucker had babies with you, for you. Now what is he gonna tell his little nigger grandbabies? Where am I from, granddaddy? You from Africa. Now the parents, because the parents believe daddy. I'm from Africa. See how quick that can happen? One generation. Culture is changed in one generation. All it takes is one generation to be separated from the knowledge of who they are and being told a different story. That's all it took. Now, once I implant this story into you, I don't have to be there anymore. You're going to raise your own kids on this bullshit story I told you. And you're going to push that on your grandkids. And it's going to take on a life of its own. Same if me as Massa molest you. Massa, ain't you my daddy too? Yeah. Now bend over and take this little pipe. It's normal. Now you grown. And you sick in the head because you got penetrated at a young age, violated. So now you think this is normative behavior. It happened to you, happened to your brother, happened to your sister, happened to everybody you know. So now that's the environment that you're in. Baltimore, New Orleans. Now you do the same to your family. And your brother does the same. And your sister goes around and molests your little brother or whatever. And then they impart that on their children. Now you got a whole bloodline of fucking pedophiles running around, sent on to the rest of the world from behavior that was bred into them on a plantation. But you want to give my culture to Africa? And we have to deal with that? And Africa, during this time in the 1700s, Morocco had a greater military than the United States or the colonies at the time? Are you fucking serious? Okay, say England has a greater, just say we get to the 1750s, because now England's over there conquering India and over there, and they all across the globe doing what they do. England's risen to power. Okay, say Morocco's Navy isn't as good as England. Say England has a better Navy than Morocco. Okay, fine, I'll give you that. England has a better Navy than Morocco. Fine. The United States beats England in the Revolutionary War. England wasn't about to ratify the United States as a country. Why did you say yes? Why did you acknowledge the United States sovereignty as a nation when you had a choice to say no? Why didn't you make the ending of slavery be a condition? Morocco had that power. Morocco could have said, you got Africans over on that land. The only way I'm going to ratify you as a nation is if you end slavery. Morocco didn't do that. Go and look up a letter from Sidi Muhammad to George Washington in the year 1780. It's either 1780 or 1789. But look it up. It's George Washington to Sidi Muhammad, S-I-D-I, Muhammad. I don't know which Muhammad, Muhammad. I'm not no goddamn Muslim shit. I don't know the goddamn difference. It sounds the same. No, it's Muhammad. No, nigga, it's Muhammad, goddammit. Shit. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, respect to my Muslim people, but I don't give a fuck. Honestly, I don't. But respect to y'all. Back to what I'm talking about. George Washington, in that letter from George Washington to Sidi Muhammad, you hear George Washington begging for forgiveness and grace from the country of Morocco for extending its debts. The United States was forever indebted to Morocco, and Morocco was mad at the United States because the United States had a debt to Morocco that it hadn't paid back. Morocco, during that time, George Washington is the new president, just got put into office. George Washington, the Sidi Muhammad, the Sultan of Morocco, could say, hey, you owe us, motherfucker. End slavery. Did Africa do that? No. Why? Why didn't they do that? Because it wasn't financially feasible. That's why. The Moroccans profited in the slave trade. They helped get it cracking. That's why I'm really like, man, I feel you Moors. I feel y'all. I like what y'all do in a lot of ways. But hey, the Moors played a part in this too. This didn't happen without the Moors' complicity. You dig? That's why I love the Moors. I celebrate the Moors. But I also understand the Moors had a strong part to play in this. I understand the Moors politically had their backs against the walls. It was like either play along, you know what I mean? England was rising to power. France was rising to power. Germany was rising to power. Europe is coming up. You know, Spain, by this time when you get to the late 1700s, Spain is losing power. But Spain still has power, but it's losing power. The Dutch are gaining power. So I understand that the Moors sort of had their backs against the wall. I get all of this geopolitical positioning. I see it from all angles, all right? But I said that to say the Moors and Africa chose itself and said, fuck them niggas in America. That's what they did. We could talk about intentions. We could talk about why. We can give excuses. But at the end of the day, that's what Africa did. And since the letter from Sidi Muhammad to George Washington, they haven't done anything to rectify that. Like Africa ain't sent nothing, ain't done nothing. Absolutely nothing to right that wrong. I get in Africa was at internal war. Africa was facing war from the Arabs to the east and the Europeans to the west. I get it. I understand. I ain't mad at y'all. But to be clear, you don't get credit for what we've done since we've been over here. The rest of the world abandoned us. Fine. We then turned that into some dope shit. Think of the way we speak English, niggas. The rhythm we speak this motherfucking language. This language ain't shit. Listen to an Australian speak English. English sounds corny from Australia. It sounds corny from motherfucking England. It sounds corny. Any other culture, the Chinese people speak English. They all sound, when the Latinos speak English, they all sound stupid, don't they? Especially them dialects of English that don't pronounce their R's. I can't stand them motherfuckers. Further, pronounce your R's, bitch. Nigga, we done took English and the South flipped English in a way that only the South took the language of English and slowed that hoe down. Draw them words out a little bit more. And turned it into what Outkast did. Sporty Odie Doublelicious Angel. Look at what the South did to English. Look at what DC and New York did to the language of English. How New York got aggressive with English and said, yo, son, We're going to be hard edge with this shit. And then Chicago took English and made it poetic. And Chicago made it straight ahead. They say standard English is spoken in Chicago. Chicago gave it a more straight ahead, but nigga slang to it. The West Coast made English very poetic. The whole world adopts the way we speak English. Give it 25 years. How the fuck did I start this show? 25 years, culture changes. All of life ties in. All this shit's 360. Every 25 years, culture changes. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, that's how we started. Culture changes every 25 years. So does language. And I remember my grandmother used to say when I was a child, she used to always say, when I was a kid, they told us ain't isn't a word. And this is back in the 80s. She'd always say, now white folks say ain't more than we do. But they was telling us it wasn't a word. Bebop came around. It brought some. When swing came around, I brought some jazz to the language. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, jazz had a way. The swing cats had a way of talking. That when you watch those Humphrey Bogart movies, those film noir movies from the 40s. The way you see those white people talking, that's not how they talked in the 20s. That was them adopting jazz talk, swing talk. And then when you get into the 60s, the bebop talk, the way bebop, you had bebop and you had cool jazz. Yeah, Cat Daddy Cool. That came out here on the West Coast from cool jazz. Miles Davis' Birth of the Cool. People used to snap their fingers. When people performed, the whole snapping the fingers, that was popular in the cool jazz circuit versus the bebop circuit. And then you fast forward to the 70s, you got that, hey, what it is, Jack? Culture shift. They no longer talking like they did in the swing generation and the bebop generation. It's a new thing. Now they rapping more. And then you get to the motherfucking hip hop generation. And then through Oakland, you got E40 coming saying, sizzle, whizzle, izzle, mizzle. And Snoop picks it up, being a more famous worldwide person than E40. He takes E40's tone and turns it into that Snoop talk. Izzle my nizzle for shizzle. Nowadays, izzle for nizzle my shizzle sounds corny as fuck. Sounded great in 1996. In 2022, izzle for shizzle my nizzle. Nigga, if you don't shut your old ass up, nigga, on to a new vibration, on to a new thing. That's the difference between culture and DNA. I help put that in perspective for y'all. Now I'm gonna look at what y'all talking about. He said, Atlanta took English and made it mumble talk. But think about that. Think about that. That's just what we do here. The world molds to what we do. Now you watch these TV commercials and watch these TV shows. It's just white people talking like we talked in the 90s, in the 2000s. Like they're always 20 years behind. And when you'll see these stupid ass videos you niggas be sharing on Facebook of a white person sounding really good singing. Yes, great. The white girl sounds like a mediocre singer from during runs. Black girls were doing it. The 19th lead in church was doing back in 1994. Okay, great. The white girl figured it out 20 fucking years later. cool. What the singers are doing now is on to something way different. They're on to something way different now. And then you'll find a white person, they're always about, the rest of the world is always about 20 years behind us. Notice that. After all I said, somebody got it at why you got to hate on Atlanta. Where did that even come from? What did I, chat room, what did I say bad about Atlanta? Help me, chat room. Now I do got some words to say for Atlanta, but that's gonna be a different broadcast. Cause it's a lot of bullshit going on down in that Atlanta culture. Y'all over there y'all over here, y'all put a DA chick in there that put Young Thug in jail. That's what y'all want? But that's a different broadcast. That's a different show. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. Yeah. I appreciate that, Cassandra. Yeah, like, these are things that we have to think about. You know what I mean? Because I'm with you. I don't want to just be having no talking points. I don't want to be one of the people who just repeat some Fox News shit that I heard, or or a meme that I wrote, or a meme that somebody wrote, or just even me. I don't like, as much as I love the cats in the new black media, I don't want to just sound like them. I thank them for leading me in the direction of information. And then once they lead me in the direction of information, I can synthesize that for myself and understand what that means for me, because what it means for me is going to be different than what it means from you, which may be different than what they meant from their intentions in delivering the message. We don't know. Everybody's different. I'm just trying to, and I don't want y'all niggas just quoting and repeating me either. Shit. Hell nah. I'm just trying to give you a point of view, an angle to see this at. I'm just asking questions. I want you to ask these questions. Because if culture changes every 25 years, and I've given multiple examples to show how, if we've been disconnected and cut and shuffled like a deck of playing cards, and if everything ties into Africa, see, here's how anthropologically you see how things tie in, right? When you see black culture in America, it's all innovation. It just plays out different on the environment. And all of the innovation goes worldwide. Chicago, like when it comes to rap, that's why Chicago has a unique scene. Memphis has a unique scene, just like it was with the blues, just like it was with jazz, just like it was with funk. Yeah, Ohio had funk, but Ohio wasn't. The birthplace was funk. Really, the first was James Brown, and second after that was Sly the Family Stone out of Oakland. And you had War out of LA that popped off in 1970, 71. All of these forms of funk popped off before Ohio got it in the game. It's just that once Ohio got in the game, Ohio did it better than everyone else. That's really what it is. Ohio just did it better than everyone else. And Mr. Bobby Rush has a funk, matter of fact, Mr. Bobby Rush has a funk song that he recorded in 1969. It didn't drop until 1971. It's called No Chicken Heads. And he recorded that out of Chicago. Chicago had his funk. But you see how we're in competition against our levels of funk, and the roots of funk were literally tie into like a 2 or 3 year spread. We're talking 1968, because the Ohio Players, they were a jazz band at first. The Ohio Players flipped to funk in like 72. They were originally a jazz band, and that's what made them so great. The Ohio Players were a jazz band. But when funk became a thing, they flipped. And they're the ones who really put Ohio on the map, 1972. So we're talking about funk starting in 1968, but really catching fire by 1974, 75. Meanwhile, funk isn't getting played anywhere else on the planet. Brazil don't have a funk. Rio de Janeiro didn't have a funk scene. Lagos didn't have a funk scene. Barbados, no funk scene. No funk scene in Kingston, Jamaica. No funk scene. I mean, with bands and record labels. Mind you, black people are owning record companies. Gamble and Huff, Philadelphia International. It wasn't just Berry Gordy anymore in Motown. No. We're talking about Gamble and Huff. We're talking about Chess Records. Stax was white owned, but all black run. The white boys got the fuck out the way. Black folks ran that. You had VJ Records. You had, I'm drawing blanks, but you literally had dozens of record labels. You don't see these things popping up anywhere across the diaspora. You have to ask yourself one question: why? Why is it in America, when the new genre hits, every city black people live in have their version of that genre within a 2-3 year period? And mind you, this is before the internet. There's no chat room. There's no social media to see what's going on in Cleveland. Culture gets exchanged at the family reunion. Culture gets exchanged when you visit your cousins at this point. Culture gets exchanged in July at the family reunion. Culture got exchanged on Soul Train once a week. But even Soul Train, how did Soul Train have to find out? They had to be there. But we hear it, and then now we got our own version. LA funk is slightly different than Oakland funk. Oakland funk is slightly different than Ohio funk. Matter of fact, Cleveland funk is slightly different than Dayton funk. And Cincinnati funk. Dayton got the hardest funk. They funk the hardest. Cincinnati funks too, but they don't funk as hard as Dayton. But it's still funk. And then New York got a funk. BT Express, 1974. Whatever it is, do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Whatever it is. Go look that song up. And how does New York funk sound? It sounds like a subway. BT Express, they're already telling you it's a train. Go look up BT Express, especially their first album that dropped in 1974. I play them on Incense and Ashtray sometime. But listen to the tempo of BT Express. It sounds like a fucking train. All of their songs. Y'all know that song that was remade? He's so contagious. Remember that song? I forgot who did that song. Like 20 years ago, it's a remake. That was a remake of BT Express. That's New York funk, which is going to be different than that goddamn Ohio funk, which is going to be different than like Sly and the Family Stone. It was very open. If you listen to War, LA funk, War sounds like, when I was in a park today listening to music, listening to the live performance today in the park, some people were playing like on their speaker, and they were playing a War. And War it's LA funk. It feels like weather. Like Summertime is a great time to listen to war. Listen to the song All Day Music. All Day Music just feels like LA at 8 p.m., 7:30 on a Saturday. That's what All Day Music feels like. And if you're from LA, you know what I'm talking about. It was 85 degrees earlier today. Now it's 78, 77, 74. Starting to get a little bite to it, but it's still warm. You know that feeling in LA. That's what All Day Music sounds like. It feels like. But funk is funk, but it's different, but it's still funk. If it were an Africa thing, then in 1971, you'd have a funk coming out of London by the black people over there. But no, when you finally did get some funk out of England, it was some white boys named the Average White Band. They from Wales. The Average White Band. When you finally got some funk out of England, it was 1976, the Average White Band. You wasn't no black Brits coming up with no funk. That didn't happen until, well, Heat Wave was from Ohio. Rod Temperton was the white writer of Heat Wave. But Heat Wave was Ohio funk. They were just in England. They were just in Europe because they were in the war. They were in the military. Heat Wave was really Ohio. It was some Ohio niggas that moved to England and hooked up with Rod Temperton. So I can't give England credit for that. I can't give Europe credit, the UK credit for that. Because it's really Ohio funk. But there's no funk in Ethiopia. There's no funk in South Africa. There's no funk in Cuba. There's no funk in St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Croix, St. Thomas. Saint none of them motherfuckers. St. Ives. Nigga. It ain't. Nigga. Ain't no funk. None of them places. And if you ask yourself why, the answer is very clear. Maybe because these sounds, these rhythms are unique to that particular landmass. And they've developed those sounds and rhythms based on their experience, their reactions to the conditions imposed on them economically, the conditions of being forced into segregation. Segregation was the greatest shit for us. You mean in Ohio, you got black people that got to live around black people, but their parents could afford instruments? In Detroit, because mommy and daddy worked at the motherfucking auto factory. So we get to afford instruments and we can stand on the corner and harmonize. Those are the sounds of segregation, black people. Those are the sounds of social and economic and political conditions that were imposed on us. Our music is our response to that. It's our interpretation. Music is a sonic interpretation of your environment. That's what music is. That's why musicians are like the worst people you ever want to, like for you ladies who date musicians, in order for a woman to date a musician, she has to be like a 4 diamonds. She has to be an 8 of diamonds, maybe a 10 of clubs she can understand, 7 of hearts. There's very few cards of women that can really date musicians. Because musicians are oftentimes horrible communicators. Musicians usually don't have the words. Musicians, your greatest singer is oftentimes a terrible person to be around. That's because when it comes to expression, they express through music. They can express through a song, but they may be terrible in a one-on-one conversation. They can express through a keyboard, But when it comes to talking to their family about what's what, that's a problem. Like we all, so being a musician, I remember what my father-in-law told me. He told me this is a lesson that he got from Norman Whitfield when he worked at Motown. Because he was saying like at Motown, you know, it's a lot of competition. And when you in the late 60s, Norman Whitfield is having a run with the Temptations. How Motown worked was the different producers got to play their different songs. The writers and the producers got to share their music with the different bands, different songs. That's why you had two versions of Heard It From the Grapevine. You had one producer produce it one way musically and another producer with Marvin Gaye. I think that was Holland Dozier Holland. And then you had another producer a different way with Gladys Knight. And then if you go back and listen to a lot of those Motown albums from the 60s, like Who's Loving You by the Jackson 5, that was Smokey Robinson's song. Like you would see songs get cut. Like Smokey would get a cut of a song, the Martha and the Vandellas would cut a song, the Temptations would cut the same song, the Four Tops cut the same song. So sometimes you'll see one song on 4 or 5 different Motown acts albums. The Motown producers, the Motown producers competed amongst one another. The Motown producers was all about, you know, beating each other. They weren't. I remember I asked my father-in-law. I said, "Was y'all listening to?" I was fucking with him. I said, "Was y'all listening to music in Africa and Jamaica at that time?" He was like, he looked at me like, "The fuck you talking about?" Like, what no damn. He didn't say that, but that was the look he gave me. He was like, first of all, wasn't even no radio you can get to what was going on in Africa. He was like, second of all, man, we all grew up in church, man, and if you don't get that note right in church, you ain't got time to think about no Africa. That music director coming for your head. So by the time he gets to Motown, he's sharpened by the church. The church is where he got his chops. Playing music, playing the organ in church since he was like 5. That's where he got his chops. So by the time he gets to Motown, it ain't nothing. But he's in competition. You know, he's producing along with is Carmichael and what's his partner's name? I feel so embarrassed. I should know his partner, his inspiration. But I'm drawing a motherfucking blank. The producer for I'll Be There with the Jackson 5. Shit. I'm high, y'all. I see his face and everything. Mr. James Carmichael produced with him. I see his face. I just can't think of his name. But they were the team. And then Holland Dozier Holland was another team. Then Norman Whitfield had his team. And Motown it was a competition. And at the time, the Temptations, this motherfucking Norman Whitfield is hitting with the Temptations. He done put out My Girl. He done put out Everybody Needs Love. And the Temptations are on a roll with Norman Whitfield. And he was like, they were trying to cut a lot of those same songs for the Temptations. But McFadden and Whitehead, that's another team. Ashford and Simpson, that's another team. And then you still got Berry Gordy that's putting shit together. And mind you, because Berry Gordy had hits of his own. And so these niggas is in competition like crazy at Motown. And so then when the Jackson 5 came, that was finally the right mix. When he got with the Jackson 5, he can put together music better for the Jackson 5 than Norman Whitfield could. Because Norman Whitfield had a better chemistry with the Temptations. And that's just how it went, how it goes with music. Why am I saying all this? He one time I asked him, I said, what is some of your advice when it comes to music? How did you get the sounds that came through? He said, now what they would do, he said Norman Whitfield taught him this. He said on Saturdays, they would go down to the movie theater. Norman Whitfield would go to the movies and spend all day Saturday at the movies. Mind you, this is before, internet and all this shit. But Norman Whitfield would go to the movies every Saturday and watch the movies. Watch the westerns, watch the romantic movies, watch the drama movies, and just sort of get a temperature for what's going on around the country. And from there, the feelings that he would get, he would reinterpret into music. So that's how you get Car Wash. When Norman Whitfield did Car Wash, he went down to a fucking car wash and he looked at the tempo of a car wash, got the energy of a car wash, went back to the studio with this band named Rolls Royce and put together a music interpretation of the feeling of being in the car wash. That has nothing to do with fucking Africa. There were no goddamn car washes in Africa. All right? There were no fucking car washes in Africa. Not when we was there, maybe back in ancient Egypt days. No, that was Norman Whitfield going out to a fucking car wash. And then the story behind that song is they recorded it like 70, 80 times. But they ended up using the first take. When you listen to that song Car Wash, that's still iconic today, that clap, 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 clap. Every time you watch a basketball game, they doing that. That's how music is done. Music is an interpretation of your environment. So when Mr. Carmichael went and got his hits, I remember one of his songs that he did when he did All Night Long. He talked about how like all night long, that was just something festive. So he got the energy of like carnivals and he got the energy of, amusement parks and fun places. And then he made it a calypso feel. And it's ended up being one of the biggest calypso hits. The biggest calypso hits in world history come out of America. All Night Long and Sunshine Day by Johnny Nash. That's the biggest calypso hit of all time. But All Night Long by Lionel Richie is a bigger calypso hit worldwide than anybody native from places that do calypso music. But Mr. Carmichael got the biggest hit out in calypso history. And it comes out of North America, outside of Johnny Nash and outside of Daylight by what's his name? What's that motherfucker? The bald head motherfucker with the raspy ass voice. The song Daylight Come and Me Wanna Go Home. What's his name? Y'all know his name. I appreciate the cash. I mean the donation. Have I seen Carol and Tuesday? No, I haven't seen that. Yeah, Belafonte. But All Night Long, shit. Calypso's biggest hit came out of North America, homie. But that came out of interpreting the environment and just getting a feel. Music comes from a feeling. It don't come from DNA that was cut off 10,000 fucking years ago. If it was DNA, show me a motherfucking equivalent from the motherland on trumpet as Miles Davis. Show me the equivalent as Dizzy Gillespie. Shit, show me the equivalent as good as Roy Hargrove, rest in peace. If it was DNA, where is your Brazilian equivalent to John Coltrane? If black drums were DNA, where's your African equivalent to Max Roach? Is there any African drummer who changed the beat of music like better than Max Roach did when he brought in bebop and Elvin Hayes? Elvin Jones, dyslexic. I get the basketball player and the drummer's name confused all the time. Art Blakely, show me an African that revolutionized the drums more than Art Blakely. Name them. And this isn't to talk shit on Africa. It's to set the record straight. We need our own cultural heritage without giving credit to everybody else. Our children need to know that they got something that's all of their own. And we adults need something to flex on when people come in talking about something. Well, I'm from here and I have culture. Well, we do too, goddammit. Yeah, Billy Cobham. Nigga, Larry Smith said Beetlejuice. See, that's why I'm be looking at the chat room. You niggas are stupid. Yeah, that was the biggest scene on Beetlejuice. Damn. Shit, that was the first time I heard that song. Because I was like 8 when Beetlejuice came out. 8 or 9 or something like that. That was the first time I heard that. Daylight come and me. I thought that was a Beetlejuice song too when I was a kid. Yeah. It is not about, shitting on them, man. I don't believe in shitting on people. I just believe everyone should have a cultural pride. I don't get intimidated when people are proud of being Puerto Rican. That doesn't intimidate me. I'm cool with that. I love proud Cubans. I love what Cuba's done with the music, man. Cuba's got a certain style about them. I appreciate, man. Belizeans. There's a fuck ton of Belizeans out here in LA. Them Belizean chicks be fine as hell. I ain't got no issue with them. I ain't got no issue with people from Jamaica. Y'all women got big booties. Why would I have an issue with y'all? Now, you Jamaican men wear too much goddamn cologne sometime. God damn. Why do you smell like a bottle and a half of the green bottle of Polo? Niggas stopped putting on Polo green bottle in 1987. Why you got that shit on? That's my only issue with Jamaicans. My only issue with Nigerians is the ones that be coming over here thinking they better than Americans. Between that and y'all compass hairlines. Like, if Nigerians, draw your hairline straight. For those of you who still got hairlines, I'm a bald nigga. It's over for me. I get it. I've accepted defeat. It's over for me. But for you Nigerians that still have a hairline, stop drawing these mini circles. It's almost like you're tracing the 3-point line. What are you doing? Stop that. That's my only issue. What's up, Shell? My only issue with my other issue with you, a lot of you, especially West Africans, is y'all ankles. Just put some lotion's not enough, please. It's okay to be ashy real quick if you go make a short little run. Like, I'll be ashy when I make a short little run sometime. But you on the way, you about to be at work all day, Lovejoy, and your heels are cracked. My only issue with y'all is use some fucking cocoa butter on them cracked heels of yours. And for the ones who are new over here, stop wearing tuxedo shirts and stonewashed jeans. For you baby boom age Nigerians and Ghanaians, for you ones that are like baby boomer age, no more tuxedo shirts and stonewashed jeans and ashy ass ankles. You've been in America long enough now. You got on a tuxedo shirt with no cummerbund and stonewashed jeans. That's my only issue with you. Other than that, I love all you motherfuckers. I love all y'all. You know what I mean? You Dominicans, stop acting like you don't speak English when when regular New York niggas come up to y'all. You speak English. Ortiz, nigga. You speak English. Don't be acting like your English ain't no good. Just stop that shit. You black, motherfucker. That's my only issue with you Dominicans. When the New York brother you come to you in English, address the motherfucker English. You know English. If a white man asks you something in English, you'd answer the question. But a New York black dude come to you, oh no, yeah, I'm eating the Mino CA. Stop that. Stop that. That's my only issue with y'all. Ain't nothing deep. All this shit can be solved with some cocoa butter and an accurately drawn hairline. We'll be good. It ain't gonna take much. It ain't gonna take much, black people. And just respect each other's culture. I'm gonna come buy jerk chicken. Hopefully you get some of my barbecue and burgers and shit. I don't know anything. I don't know of any Nigerian food that I can't say that I can't say that I've ever had any Nigerian food. But so I don't know what y'all eat. I hear y'all eat some shit called jollof, and that's just some shit with some rice. I hate rice. Rice fucking. I'm the fattest nigga on earth that hates rice. I don't like no kind of rice. I don't like jerry rice, nigga. I don't like brown rice, white rice, fried rice, red beans and rice, nigga. I kind of like Simeon Rice when he was a defensive end for the Cardinals and the Buccaneers. I don't fuck with Ray Rice. Ray Rice hit when he hooked this girl that made me stop fucking with Ray Rice. So ain't too many rices I like. Yeah, so I'm like, man, I appreciate everybody's culture. I really do. I do. Man, fuck rice. I don't like rice or beans. I don't eat black beans. I don't eat black eyed peas, nigga. I don't eat refried beans. Motherfucker, I don't even eat Boston baked beans. I hate jelly beans. Yes, nigga, I said it. Not just the black ones. The yellow jelly bean is nasty. The green jelly bean is nasty. Nigga, jelly beans, black beans, red beans and rice, all that shit's nasty. All of it. Yuck to any of you motherfuckers who eat beans and rice. That shit is nasty on nasty. My wife be, and that shit be smelling good though. My wife be cooking it up. I ain't gonna lie. My wife, she'll make beans and rice, and she'll be like, you gonna have some? I'll be like, nope. Not that old mushy ass texture. Niggas, this shit tastes like you eating slime. Beans, then they get stuck on the side of your, like when a bean get like refried beans and shit, when that little piece gets stuck on your gum, between your jawline and your gum, that's the yuckiest fucking feeling on earth. I gotta, nigga, give me some goddamn Pepsi to swish this shit out, nigga. Fucking bean and the rice. Kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. Beans and rice, kiss my ass. As a matter of fact, I just started eating pasta in January. I just started eating pasta. I hated pasta my whole life. Spaghetti, only pasta I liked was lasagna. Outside lasagna, I fuck an angel hair, fuck all them, whatever the fuck pastas. But for some reason, this past January, I started eating pasta. And I kind of like pasta. It's kind of cool. The red sauces, all that other shit, all them little creamy ass fucking weirdo ass sauces. Nope, I ain't fucking with them. I only fuck with them red sauces. Shit remind me of pizza. So I'm only fucking with them red sauce. Any kind of pasta that kind of tastes like pizza, I'm fucking with it. Fuck no, I don't love potatoes. I like fries, but even fries, I can go without fries. Like I like fries are cool. The only time I'm eating potatoes is either hash browns or fries. And I don't eat hash browns much. Fries, I can go without fries. Like if I get a burger at a restaurant, I'm gonna do fries and a salad. But I like fries are cool, but like mashed potatoes, fuck mashed potatoes. I hate mashed potatoes. I hate country fried potatoes. I hate potatoes au gratin. I hate what's the other potato? Sweet potatoes. Fuck a sweet potato. Like if you put a sweet potato on my plate, I will punch you in your fucking nose. I swear to God, if you put a sweet potato on my plate. Fuck a sweet potato pie. Fuck a yam. Yams ain't shit. I hate yams. I hate yams. Get that mushy shit out. Fuck a yam. Fuck a sweet potato. Fuck a rice. Fuck a bean. Got that? Am I clear? Am I clear? Oh, loaded potato? Fuck a loaded potato. Hell nah. No baked potatoes? Nope. Now, I could grill the fuck out of a baked potato. I love cooking on my grill. So I'll be making shit I don't eat. I'll be making some dope ass. I hate corn too. But everybody who eat my grilled baked potatoes and my corn, everyone say they love it. They love how I season it up. When I do my corn on the cob, when I do my baked potatoes, everybody who eat my shit, they say they love it. I have never eaten that shit because it's fucking nasty. Baked potato, even on the grill. Fuck, man. Keep your sour cream. Keep all that shit. I ate the same shit over and over again. I ate a lot of fucking hamburgers. I love goddamn pizza. I love salad. Nigga, I love tacos, nigga. And I just started eating Chinese food a little bit like 2 years during the coronavirus. But I pulled back. I ain't had no time. I had just started eating, like when the virus had hit, I'm back because I had never eaten Chinese food my whole life. But when the virus had hit, I was doing Uber. I was driving Uber back then. And I had done some Uber pickups on at some Chinese food restaurants. And that shit was smelling good than a motherfucker. See, before then, my wife knew not to never bring no fucking Chinese food around me. I ain't eating that shit. So I never paid attention to it. I ain't, fuck that. But when I was driving Uber, I had did a pickup at a few different Chinese restaurants. I was like, oh, this shit kind of sound, this shit kind of smell good. And I tried it, and I was fucking with Chinese food heavy, 2020, 2021. But 2022 so far this year, I haven't had Chinese food once. Hell yeah, I be eating bread. Yes, I do. I love sandwiches. You got me right there. I be eating bread like a motherfucker. When we was at Lackma Jazz today, I got me a nice big ass sandwich. I be eating the same shit over and over and over again. And I be drinking soda. I got a fucked up relationship with soda. And I be eating late. But I never really, I don't even eat a whole lot. Like, I seen Larry punk ass come on the show and say that. Yeah, but I get all that weight in my stomach, boy. My legs is fine, my arms is fine, but my stomach, this motherfucker get huge. I'm an odd-shaped ass nigga. Nigga, you look at my calf muscles, I got a horseshoe with my calf muscles. These motherfuckers is defined and cut. Nigga, my belly though, I got a keg sitting around my torso. You said I need some beans and fin. Hey, Quan, get the F out of here talking about some beans. We ain't got time for that. I'll never, only way I'll ever eat, here's when I'll eat beans. If the fucking apocalypse hit and then these Biden shortages get real big and a ham and meat is like $10,000. Cause hell, if meat's $10,000, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my ass down there to San Pedro or Marina Del Rey. I'm gonna sit on them rocks and I'm gonna go fishing. That's what I'm gonna do. Right here, I live in LA, goddammit. Right when I'll get the little deep sea boats. It's only like $40 for a 6-hour trip. Nigga, I spend that $40, get on a 6-hour trip, catch me about 5 or 6 yellowtail, catch some snapper, maybe catch some halibut. Nigga, I'm gonna come back with some motherfucking meat somehow. I ain't eating no goddamn beans. Nigga, I will go fishing. That's why I live in LA, nigga. Deep sea fishing. I can go, the water goes between here and Catalina. The water gets as deep as 5,000 feet. Nigga, if it's the springtime, summertime, I can get some barracuda right there on top. I can get some yellowtail. Okay. I can possibly get some swordfish. That's rare, but I can get them. They do come in that channel. It's kind of hard to get. You usually got to go real deep. But since it gets real deep in that channel between, all right, since it gets, what up? All right, for sure. All right, man, thanks. Nigga, I will get my ass on one of them boats, $40, 6 hours, let's go. And then my homeboys, they be fishing deep sea like 2 nights. And them niggas always come back with some bluefin, something like that. Them niggas always come back with like either some bluefin, some something. Nigga, I'm not eating no fucking beans. And hell, if I don't want to go to the motherfucking ocean, I got Lake Piru, nigga. We got Castaic Lake. We got Paris Lake. We got that lake in San Dimas, nigga. It's all kind of lakes around LA. I got that lake over there. What's that lake called? Up in Ojai. Nigga, I got Malibu Creek Park. They got catfish. I can go down into Malibu, up. You can go up the coast of Malibu. Right when you go on the PCH, there's a spot. When you get into Santa Monica, in between Santa Monica and Malibu, you can pull over, get off the rocks, and cast your shit out there. Nigga, you gonna get some red snapper. Oh, I love spinach. Yes, I do eat spinach. What does the U.S. have to do to keep power? Whatever they need to do. The United States don't have the power it used to have. China be slapping this motherfucker around. China and Russia don't give a fuck about what the United States got going on anymore. The United States already lost its power. It lost absolute power, I'll say. This country's gonna do what it do. I'm not concerned about what the United States has to do to keep power. I'm concerned about what we got to do to empower ourselves. That's what I'm concerned about. Motherfucker said I like fries sprinkled on Lori's sequels to season salt. Yeah, peace and blessings. Yeah. Biz Marty said he only eats grass-fed meat. Biz Marty licks hookers' booties, but said he only eats grass-fed meat. Biz Marty puts his tongue laterally in hooker taint, but he said he only eats grass-fed meat. Trust, did he say he persistent? Nah, that was my first time seeing him answer the question. Arturia, you said it right? Okay. If y'all two said that, damn, how many times did he ask the question? Hey, nah, yams ain't shit. Like, I missed all out as a kid. Because as a kid, like my grandfather who just passed away, he was a master cook. A master cook. My grandfather used to cook steaks so tender you can cut his steaks with a fork. And when I was a kid, he'd have all this smothered. My grandfather would have on a rate to say, because we used to always go there after school. So this would be like a random Tuesday night. My grandfather would have, he'll have cooked the whole chicken. He'd have a ham, greens, mashed potatoes and gravy, yams, mac and cheese, nigga. And this would just be on Tuesday. Because that's what he did. He cooked. He always cooked. And when I was a kid, man, because I love greens, I would eat the greens and get a slice of ham and be right back outside playing. I wouldn't eat none of that shit. And so yesterday at his funeral, and there was a lot of people that showed up. For him to be 98 years old, he had a lot of people that showed up. Everybody was talking about his food. Like, people was talking about my grandfather's food, who the last time they tasted his food was like the last time I had Mr. Percy's food was 1967. I'm like, damn. You niggas was talking about my granddaddy's food from and the last time you had some was 1967? Shit. And it was like 5 people got up to talk about his burger stand. He closed his burger stand down in like 1985, 84, sometime around there. And you had motherfuckers getting up at his funeral talking about eating at his burger stand in 1973 and shit. I love them burgers now. I love my grandfather's burgers. Now, I did eat that. I'm a burger eating ass nigga. I'm a hamburglar, goddammit. I eat a goddamn burger. But all the rest of that shit, I ain't eat none of that. I appreciate the Aries. Burger eating ass nigga. But I cut down 90% of my beef intake, eating beef, like over the last year and a half. I still fuck up some pork and chicken and fish. And I still eat beef, but not like I used to. Because beef was slowing me down. One thing about me, I don't mind being fat, but I hate being sluggish. I can't tolerate sluggishness. That's one thing I cannot tolerate. And beef be making a nigga sluggish. So I saved that from when I cook them big ass steaks I be making. I like going down to Costco and getting a good, one of those good 36-ounce T-bone, not just T-bone, 36-ounce prime rib, the bone in. I like them hoes. 52-ounce. So I don't. So now when I do burgers, I either do turkey or chicken. But that's because, nigga, when it's time to eat that steak, boy, I'm going to work. And it's funny, I was talking to my, he said dinosaur steaks. When I told you on that recording I got with my grandfather, I was like, grandfather, I said, Poppy, you 90? I said, how'd you make it to 98? He said, shit, I eat meat. That's how I made it. He said, shit, I eat meat every day of my life. I don't know what these people talking. He was like, I don't know what these people talking about, don't eat meat. He said, I've eaten meat every day of my life. Beef, pork, ham, don't matter, chicken, oxtails. He said, I eat meat every day of my life. And he said this shit like 2 months ago. Meanwhile, the people that said, oh, that meat bad for you, these motherfuckers is dying in their 70s like everybody goddamn else. That was a good one, Guru Cam. He said about a kilo. That's funny. Yeah, and then like my grandfather, he had to really stop cooking for himself in the last 10 years. But he really slowed down cooking for himself, cooking a whole lot by like the late 90s. Mid-late 90s, he had to take so much out of his food. He wasn't seasoning it the same way by the time he got to the mid-late 90s. But I said that to say, shit, Poppy was eating fast food, goddamn, every day. Like, I mean, just a few months before he died, I was stopping at Popeyes to get him a 2-piece with some red beans and rice. You know, I wouldn't eat no goddamn red beans and rice. But we was getting that shit. Like last year, Poppy was eating fast food every fucking day in his 90s. and literally up until a month before he died, he was telling me, because when I was talking to him about the house he grew up in, he said the address is 1447 79th Street. Motherfuckers knew the address. Of course, I didn't give you niggas a real address. I just threw one out there. But he was like, yeah. Right after he told me he made it by eating meat every day, he's telling me the address. Oh, and he was telling me about, I found this article on Central Avenue online. And it's talking about like all the great things going on Central Avenue. I talked to my grandfather about that, and he was like, yes, it was a restaurant. It was two sisters, and it was on 47th and Central. And it was run, and I was like, so I looked up the article. I said, you mean these two sisters? He was like, yeah. And that one right there, she used to sing. And the other one, and he was just telling me a story. And then so I went back and I read the article. I'm going to share it on my next time on my computer. I'm going to share it on the show. And as I was reading the article, my grandfather was telling me about, and he was like, the last time he saw these ladies was like in the 50s. Was the last time he saw them, like in the 50s. Like, and then I'm going to go around and listen to some person talking about something. You can't live long and access certain vibrational memories unless you take my colloidal silver and my pork and bean greens, and you must take this monatomic platinum, and then once you're done with the monatomic platinum, you gotta go ahead and get a crystal, and then you sit the crystal on your celery sticks, and you put your celery sticks in water with a crystal in it to rinse away any impurities that the white man has put in on his farm. And once you do that, you sit in the sun and sun gaze when the sun rises at 5:49 a.m. so you can get the melanin D of the sun rays. And when you do that, you must sit in the lotus position. You sit in the lotus position at 8:59 a.m. because that's when the sun reaches 47 degrees in the sky. Not temperature, but the degrees from Earth. So at about 47 degrees, you know at noon, the sun's at 90 degrees. And then you can, man, if y'all sit y'all ass down, I'll be laughing my ass off. Nigga, I will eat some pork rib tips, finish that, and some motherfucking greasy ass fries, and finish that hoe off with a slice of chocolate cake. And let's have a downloading contest and see who the universe speaks through more clearly, me or you. I bet you I win. Anybody who's had a reading from me will tell you. I gets my channels, nigga. I'm listening to a channel I like, and like, you can't get the proper downloads from the universe if you eat meat. Your downloads are gonna be full of pus, and your thoughts are gonna be full of pus. So I downloaded that whole goddamn Black American music tree on a mushroom trip. But before I went on that mushroom trip, I ate at Ramona's. If you from LA, you know Ramona's is them is nigga tacos. That's nigga Mexican food. Nigga, ground beef burrito, with some cheese, nigga, and 2 tacos. And then I went and got some gummy bears to snack on my mushroom trip. Had like some Simply lemonade, nigga. And then I went on a mushroom trip. And then I came out of that and documented 400 years of Black American music. The next day, 80% of that off the top of my head. So what, you saying if I ate celery sticks that was purified in crystal water, I would have downloaded it 100% right off the first time? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I guess I just won't get me getting 80% of a tree that encompasses 400 years of history right the first time that I put it down. Okay, yeah. I had a big ass burrito, nigga, and I had extra cheese. And you telling me I gotta purify myself and I can't eat meat for goddamn 48 days and 48 nights before I gotta grow my hair out so I can get some antennas to the universe, nigga. And then I gotta meditate to the sun at 6:59 a.m. And then I gotta do a ritual with a pendulum to Archangel Michael. And then I gotta eat some sea moss and bladderwrack for 7 days in a row so I can download from the universe. You niggas sound like y'all hustling the people, saying some shit like that. Now come and buy my goddamn monatomic colloidal platinum. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. I'm the kind of person that, do whatever you do. Oh, what up, T? I'm good. How you doing? You niggas having fun and shit. Huh? All right. You about to fall. Don't fall. I ain't gonna help you out now. My back hurt. I ain't help you. You gonna have to get out that car and help her. I ain't doing shit. I'm gonna claim workman's comp. I did. It's bright light. Everything good? That's good. I'm over here talking shit. Yeah. Text me. All right. Yeah. Um. Yeah. These niggas, man. So that's all I'm saying when it comes to that. Nigga, is it benefits to eating healthy and doing certain things? Yeah, I'm sure. Hell yeah. I mean, I ain't here to shit on what nobody do. Everybody got their own path. Matter of fact, when I read cards, there's certain cards that when I read them, it's like I'll be reading a lot of they have to eat certain ways. Like certain cards, when I read their spread and you read their challenges, sometimes you're reading the person's challenge card that this is the time. Like I can read if somebody's having digestive issues or lung issues, depending on where certain cards are on certain planets. You can see if they're having a lung issue, a digestive issue, or whatever. And the card in the displacement card to tell you, okay, this person should probably know veganism or wash diet. You will see those type things in the cards. And diet does mean a lot. I'm not saying it don't at all. Only thing I'm talking against is you have to do one to get the other. That's all I'm talking about. That whole, you gotta do this to get that. You gotta take my Irish sea moss pills that are dipped in monatomic platinum in order to receive messages from God. That's what I'm talking shit about. No, the fuck you don't. All you gotta do is open up. God damn it, listen to some jazz and open up. You'll get it. You'll get tapped right the fuck on in. God ain't waiting on you to motherfucking take some silver platinum crystallized goat weed to talk. Fuck out of here. I am not here to, I don't know about diet. What the fuck my fat ass look like telling people how they should eat? I don't know. But I remember when I was a hoop, I also didn't understand why I was 340 pounds but could hoop 5 hours a day. I've always been a fucking anomaly. I don't know. Shit. My 340-pound ass, this past Sunday, I went on a good 10-mile bike ride. That's why I was so late doing incense and ashtrays on Sunday. I usually like doing incense and ashtrays 8:30. I didn't get on until 9. Why? Because I was on a fucking beach riding my bike 10 miles. And I never got tired. The shit was fun. I don't know. I don't know why I can do that. I don't know. But to hear some dickhead tell me I gotta have colloidal platinum sea moss to talk to Mama Universe, kiss my entire black ass. Y'all look at my IG. I had some good IG pictures up on Sunday of my bike ride. And matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go ride my bike again tomorrow. What's tomorrow, Sunday? Hell yeah. Nigga, hell yeah. tomorrow, I'm probably going, and I'm gonna do like a later bike ride about 4 o'clock. I'm gonna get on my, I'm gonna put my bike on my trunk, ride that hoe to Marina Del Rey, park in Marina Del Rey, and ride that motherfucker up to Santa Monica and back. I'm gonna make sure I roll 2 joints. Puff a joint, blunts, I should say, not joints. I don't do joints no more, 2 blunts. I'm gonna have a blunt for the ride up there, and I'm gonna have a blunt for the ride back. Nigga. But don't ever let nobody tell you you gotta eat motherfucking sea moss bananas and you can't talk to God. You can't talk to Mama Magic because of some fucking meat that she put on this planet for us to eat any goddamn way. Why the fuck Mama come? Why the fuck did the universe inspire somebody to create a goddamn bow and arrow to kill a goddamn turkey or whatever? Nigga, it's there to eat. Now if you don't want to, that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You gotta do what the fuck you do. You gotta live this life the way you deem is best. But you think the universe like, I'm not gonna download to him. He ate he ate fish. We put that bluefin tuna in the sea to live a long, prosperous life. And he went to the steak and fish restaurant and ate that bluefin tuna and spent $69 on a piece of tuna. I'm not gonna download the information to him. I'm gonna wait to download the information to that nigga that only eats vegetables, talking about how to treat your queen, but he ain't never been married. He gonna get the download. The man that talks about how to treat your queen who's never been married, he's gonna get the universal download because he had Irish bladderwrack sea moss bananas. Okay. All right. Now what you selling? Oh, you selling monatomic platinum colloidal silver sea moss pills. Okay. Oh, how much it costs? Okay. Oh, you want me to be on a membership? Okay. They just send them to me automatically every month. Okay. All right. And that's gonna help me talk to God, right? Now you sure I can't talk to God without that? Oh, okay. Man, I've been out here for a long ass fucking time. God damn, 168 minutes. I could talk a lot. I could talk a lot, goddamn. I'm a talking ass nigga, shit. But again, if you think I have to, if you think I need if I gotta put down chicken to get the universal downloads, all right. I got about how many hours of documented music history where I'm putting information. I put information out so fast and freely to people. Y'all people who follow me on Twitter and Instagram, see? Shit come to my head so fast. I put one post on Instagram, a different on Twitter, and a different on Facebook. Cause I don't want to seem like I'm posting every fucking minute to everybody. Like, and these thoughts keep coming. I get down. All I gotta do is motherfucking breathe, nigga, and I will get a download.